All right, go ahead.
In three, two, one. According to me, the film Copland is a fucking New
Oh,
York
excuse me,
adjacent.
excuse me. Start over again. I'm sorry. What was a glitch? Go ahead. According to.
According to me, Copland, 1997, is a New York adjacent neo-western. The cops in the movie are their own gang of outlaws, and you've got a sheriff put in a position where he has to now defend the town against that gang. It's fucking Stallone without steroids. It's DeNiro versus Keitel. It's another Ray Liotta coked out character. It's Kathy Moriarty. Scorsese's fucking shadow is all over this movie. But I think Howard Hawks' shadow's all over it too. It's Copland, 1997, written and directed by James Mangold. Go.
When I heard that this film was coming out, when they started talking about this movie, they started talking about Stallone. Well, a lot of people had already written Stallone off for very good reason. The man had been coasting for a long time, but he had been a pretty decent actor in a certain type of role. The Rocky character, Rocky Balboa, being the thing that really dictated his entire career, and I commend him for that. I thought he was great in that film. First Blood would come out. I thought he was, excellent. And with both films, I think, well, not excellent, but very good. With both films, you would create this shadow of what he would become, and each film series would devolve into more and more unrealistic and fantasy like storytelling. As with every actor, there was a desire to prove themselves and to find material that both challenges themselves and challenges an audience. And in 1996, 1995, whenever it was, there was a director that popped onto the independent scene named James Mangold, who had done a film called Heavy with Pruitt Taylor Vance. I think the best thing you would know him as is the Fat Man from Deadwood, if you remember that. It was it was a movie about a man who living in a small town, I think living with his mother and falling in love with, I think, Liv Tyler. And I've never seen it. It's a hard film to find. I guess I'd like to see it because I'd like to know what it was. Mangold would go on to direct this film, then Girl Interrupted in 1999, the Johnny Cash biopic Walk the Line in 2005, the 310 to Yuma remake in 2007, and then he would do the Wolverine in 2013, and my favorite of all of the Marvel superhero films, Logan in 2017. So he's a director that I have liked. The last thing I think he directed was the Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny in 2023. So this guy is somebody he's got legs and he's put together things. But in 1997, he was an unknown entity, and you're right. The spirit of or the hand of Martin Scorsese is all over this thing, and it's not. And I think it suffers because of that, because nobody knows this material. Like, there's not an American filmmaker that could do with this material what Scorsese would have done, and it would have been it probably would have been a much better film. That being said, this is a pretty damn good film, and for a first-time director to have the likes of Keitel, DeNiro, Stallone, Robert Patrick, Ray Liotta, Kathy Moriarty, just
He
so
did
many
not
people.
go with that. It's got Frank Vincent.
Frank
Fucking
Vincent, yeah. Frank
uh,
Vincent, a lot of
Annabella Fiora,
mhm. A lot of the Sopranos cast is in there. Annabelle Sciorra,
Edie
Edie
Falco,
Falco, even Polly Walnut, Tony Sirico is in this
Paul
as
Calderon.
Paul Calderon. You know what? And we're going to talk about that about people who never got the opportunity that they deserved. Paul Calderon is one of those guys. That's a long way, long-winded and all over the place kind of introduction to something that I think is an exceptional film. I think this is watching it again last week and then watching it again last night. I was really moved by how on point this film is in its depiction of the legal system, being police officers in a big city like in a big urban metropolitan rough and crime ridden area like New York, and this mixture of, like you said, a Howard Hawks type western, because this is High Noon to a degree. I mean, there are elements there that you can watch, and
Yeah,
it,
fucking all that.
yeah,
Fucking
and that's the
Rio
thing. It's like
Bravo.
Rio Bravo. All, it's so crazy that it's like almost nothing is new, nothing is original, because these stories have been told numerous times, and the Western is a background that has given us so much in the decades of cinema and filmmaking, and I think this is one of the best realizations and appropriations of that type of storytelling. I was really surprised at how well this film stood up, and I was, whenever you see something and you're excited about it, and anybody who has listened to this show knows that I'm a Scorsese fan, and this is basically Scorsese without Scorsese. To know that DeNiro and Keitel would come together, and then you have Ray Liotta,
Mm-hmm.
and this is only 7 years after Goodfellas. You got to keep that in perspective as well. I was afraid that this film wouldn't hold up the way it should, the way I imagined it would, and I was really surprised at how well it did, because especially in the last 10 years of Black Lives Matter, Trayvon Martin, Freddie Gray, all these incidences that have had the country in an uproar, justifiably. It's all here. It's addressed. It's talked about, and it's not shied away from. And it's the starting point for a different story that doesn't deal so much with that, but it deals with it gives you an idea of who these cops are, and I think it does a good job of that. I constantly get into it with people about because the arguments that I have are, I don't like police. I have police friends and I have police in my family, but I don't like authority as a whole. And I don't like when people say, people will see cops, and this is a trend that's happened over the last 10, 15 years or so. I don't know, maybe you can comment on it, where I've seen where people will see a cop or military soldier and say, "Thank you for your service." And that kind of irritates me, because it's like, you don't know who this person is. You don't know what kind of a cop this is. You don't know what kind of soldier this is. You don't know what kind of firefighter this is. You're giving this blanket statement of a group of people based on the job without understanding who's doing the job. Now, likewise, I'm not sitting here painting with a broad brush saying that every cop out there is corrupt. But I do think that the job itself is set up in such a way that it is difficult to not become corrupt. Or maybe that's just my fucked up, cynical attitude about life, is that given the opportunity, I think it would be very easy to fall into the realm of like Ray Liotta says in the film. How many of you guys aren't getting by with a little bit of gravy?
Yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah.
know, yeah.
I
So
mean,
it's there. You
the
know.
job itself will fuck you over. And
Yeah.
number one, I think there's certain personality types that go into those types of jobs.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I mean, we
there
went to high
are,
school with them. You know, how many guys do you know that went to high school that became cops? And when I find out that they became cops, I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, that guy's a fucking cop. Yeah, that's a problem. I know at least
right.
3 guys like that. Yeah.
And people do the thank you for your service thing because it makes them feel good.
It makes them feel good. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes them feel it's like a virtue signal type of shit.
Yeah.
Um, like I'm the guy who recognizes that that you're blah blah blah, and I like this proximity to power. You know what I mean? Like that's my cynical take on it, and we're not talking about fucking Jimmy Stewart like in the old West in some fucking town.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the I mean, in this film, Stallone is that character. He's that reluctant hero. It's built on the premise that he's already a hero going into the film because he's a wounded hero. Every main character has some kind of wound. Well, every character has a wound to begin with, especially heroes and villains, right? But his wound is that he's gone deaf. He's a local Jersey sheriff hero who's gone deaf in 1 year saving a girl from a submerged car when he was young. And he always wanted to be like a cop, like a city cop. But he couldn't. So he became a small town sheriff. And the town that he serves becomes a haven for basically a corrupt gang of New York City cops that they cross the fucking they work in Manhattan, but they cross the Hudson River at night to go live in this fucking town, this copland. And in all of its tropiness or whatever, it's the you know a local sheriff must make a choice between loyalty to the cops he looks up to or loyalty to the law he swore to enforce. You know what I mean? Like it's that choice, and it's kind of like, well, what's he gonna fucking do when he realizes that everything he fucking believed was a lie? Everything he fucking all these like principles and all this bullshit that fucking like he protect and serve, whatever the fuck it is. It's bullshit because that's the gang in blue type of shit. And it does have those El Dorado fucking Rio Bravo High Noon shit where it's like this, the reluctant hero, the town that abandons him. He has his like partner or whatever who's a fucking drunk, or in this case a drugged out. It's got the gang of outlaws who in this case are cops. It's got the damsel in distress. It's got the fucking shootout at the end with pistols and a fucking shotgun or rifle, whatever. So I see, like I didn't think about it when I've seen it before. It's been a long time since I saw it, but I saw it this time and I was like, this is a fucking Western.
Oh yeah.
This is a fucking neo-Western. And it and the New York part is what like kind of like masks it. But it's all this fucking drama. And you've got Stallone actually not hiding behind the tough guy bullshit, which is what's refreshing. It's not fucking Rambo. It's not fucking Rocky. He's overweight. He's not fucking all ripped to fucking shreds. And he did this thing, and then he fucking went right back into it. Which, whatever, do whatever the fuck you want. Sly, you know what I mean? But but it's just like, yeah, this was in terms of performance. I think this is it. This is the height of his career.
Well, I think it's a matter of it's funny that the character he's playing doesn't live up to his potential until the very end, where he's slapped in the face with the truth. And Stallone, who made a career out of becoming this action star, comparable to Arnold Schwarzenegger at that time. They were the only two. They were like, that was, Clash of the Titans right there for a good 10, 15 years. Those two going at it. The failure of this film to get nominations, and I think the audience that would have gone to a Sylvester Stallone movie were upset to see their hero in this manner. So where Freddy Heflin becomes the man that he should be, Stallone falls back to being the man that he's always hid behind. I think that's fucking interesting. I think that as an artist and as an actor, I commend Stallone for taking the chance, for gaining the weight, to playing a sad sack and doing it, really quite beautifully. Mm-hmm. For it to go into the shitter, and he just goes, "Hey, I'm gonna make another Rocky. I'm gonna play Rambo again. I'm gonna," and that's basically what his career became. And now he's doing he's playing an old tough guy in Oklahoma. Stallone,
an old tough guy, fucking Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah, well, that's a whole other thing. With
a bunch of other old.
Well, it's interesting.
Guys playing old tough guys,
Yeah, but it's interesting. It's like, that's a whole other issue to get the whole MAGA, Make America Great, Make America White Again element that is pervasive in this film, because they actually cut back a lot of the racism in this film. There was at least two scenes. One scene of where Stallone as Heflin and Ray Liotta as Figgis are driving through the town. They see the cops having a softball game, and there's some black kids that are driving through the area blaring their music really loudly. And these cops stop their fucking game to chase these black kids down, because they just don't like this shit in their town. They just don't like it driving through loud driving in black,
That's the game,
Yeah, exactly. So, boom. They stop them, and they cut that scene out. They cut another scene out where Janine Garofalo and Stallone are sitting on his couch, and they imply that there's some kind of relationship there. I don't know if they wanted to cut that out as well. But there was a sense of she was talking to him about going through the files and saying, we only stop looking at over all of the crime in the area, and it's a safe town because it's all cops. The only people that they stop are black and Latino drivers. And Stallone hems and haws, and that's not what we do. We're not racist. Race is not something. It's the old argument that we've heard 1,000 times about, well, if they're not doing anything, it shouldn't be a problem that you question them every once in a while. So there's that,
what do they have to hide,
What do they? Yeah, exactly. But even with the setup of this movie, the Michael Rappaport character. So what? Everything that you described is the setting of this story. Michael Rappaport's character is nephew, not by blood, to Harvey Keitel's boss, basically cop boss of this small town. the go-between, the man who made this town happen through finding a loophole in getting cops to work as transit authority cops so that they could live outside of the city. There's always some kind of loophole, but in doing so, finding a mob that will finance loans for these homes and basically running dirty money through their precinct. So there's all that. Rappaport's character leaving a strip club, some kind of a bachelor party, drives home drunk, somewhat drunk, maybe not as drunk as we've all been, but definitely, illegal. And gets sideswiped by a couple of black kids who they might have been drunk. I mean, who knows what to sideswipe somebody like that and just I don't know. But there's a moment where Rappaport's character pulls the badge, starts screaming, "Pull over!" Very pissed off, very drunk, and the kid pulls out a what do you call it? What was that device they used to? Yeah, the club they used to put on the steering wheel, right?
Yeah, I still fucking use it.
You still. Rappaport overreacts, pulls out his Beretta, boom, 6 shots, kills them, crashes into their car, and then claims to have seen. Now you can make the argument that he thought it was a gun. I could see that. The blowing of the tire, I can imagine him, relating that to a fucking shotgun blast or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, this is a kid, and Ray Liotta says it later on. When you see a red light, didn't he say something like that? When you see a red light, you stop, you let it go. You gotta go diagonal. Yeah, you gotta go. You get it another time. It would have been very easy.
You don't do it straight. You don't attack straight out.
Yeah. So it's Michael Rappaport's character, this hero cop who saved 3 black children from a fire, I believe it was. Now he's got this shit hanging over him because he killed a couple of black kids in a Fiero. Because he fucking overreacted. Because he didn't realize that it's not the smartest move to pull your gun out and shoot over the outside of the window at a vehicle on the George Washington Bridge. And, cops do what cops do. They plant a gun. That's where you have that moment. Cops are going to cop. Yeah. That's where you have that moment with Paul Calderone, which I think I watched that and I was like, would somebody actually do that? Would a guy who's in that, would he grab that gun away and say, that's bullshit, you fucking planted it, take it and throw it off the bridge? And I said to myself, you know what? No, he wouldn't. But yeah, he would. When you're that frustrated, when you're that upset, when you've seen it happen over and over again and you know this is bullshit, you react to a situation without necessarily thinking. And Calderone sold that shit. Calderone is one of those actors from the 90s that I really wish we had seen more of him.
Yeah.
This, Pulp Fiction, a handful of other small supporting roles that he did. He was in Bad Lieutenant. He should have been bigger. And the fact that he wasn't is, it says something about the casting system that doesn't recognize true talent. So that sets up this story of a cover-up and puts the Stallone character, Freddy Heflin, a 10-year sheriff of this small town, basically a puppet, basically Keitel's pet. He forces his hand, makes him have to make that hero's journey to recognize his own potential. I mean, I think it's really interesting right from the get-go. There's 2 things that I noticed when I was watching this film again. Number 1, how do they introduce Freddy? You remember?
The first scene that we see Freddy in,
mm-hmm.
oh, he's playing a fucking game that says, what does it say? It says like, you have no authority. You have no,
Yeah.
something like that, right?
He's
The pinball.
playing a
Yeah,
pinball game based on a cop scenario. So already this director is like, this guy's just playing cop. This guy's just
exactly.
pretending, and he could have made that a lot
Yeah,
more heavy-handed, and he didn't. He just, and he's a sad sack. It's his birthday. He's all alone. He's just playing this fucking game, and he's going for the high score. His cokehead friend is sitting there planning his way out of this shit.
yeah. He's not gonna get talking with it. He just passes him a fucking bag.
Mm-hmm.
It's a fucking bomb squad bag, and you
You're
kind of
like, yeah,
forget about it.
that can't possibly be bad. There's nothing wrong here. Two cops in a cop bar passing over. Yeah, sure. And then his Rican whore girlfriend comes. You marry them. No, you fuck them. You don't marry them. Wow, that was I hadn't heard racism like that in a long time. It was kind of refreshing, I thought. When I hear shit like that, I'm just like, wow, that's just like, that's fucked up. And Patrick delivers that line. Anyway, we'll get to that in a little bit.
Oh yeah, and he's got that mustache again, the whole fucking pervert cop mustache.
Fucking scumbag cop, yeah. I mean, I love that.
And fucking yeah, he's playing that machine, and it says something along those lines. When you lose, it says like, you have no authority.
Yeah,
you have no authority.
Yeah.
And it was just like, God damn it! And he runs out of coins.
Mm-hmm. So what does he do?
He goes to the fucking to the
parking. What do you call it? Parking meter.
The meter, the parking meter, and he fucking opens it, and all these coins spill out. And so, just in that little action, because I watched it, and then I watched it with Leslie, and she was like, "So the cop is basically stealing the city's money or whatever," and I was just like,
"You're watching this movie with the queen of commentary."
Yeah, goodbye. Every time she takes one to get killed. Yeah, that's her. She's the one who was talking shit about fucking. Side note, Terminator.
Terminator. Yeah. What was she?
She's like, there's no fucking way a Zillennial knows how to fucking use a phone book.
It's fucking hilarious.
Like that. She's like, that guy's a Zillennial. Anyway, the point is that he can't even fucking get that right because the coins spill everywhere. And it in a way it shows that like he's willing to. He's not the stickler that like he would like to think of himself as, because if he were, he wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Because
there are those sticklers that are like, I'm not gonna steal from the fucking meter. At the same time, it's kind of like, well, what he views as just, I'm just fucking taking money from the meter and I'll put it back later, is the same thing like fucking Ray Liotta saying, well, I'm just taking money from the evidence. I'm just taking coke from the evidence. Like, it's coke. Like it's.
They're not gonna miss that. Like, I ain't gonna come after me for a fucking nickel bag. It's 6 grams.
Yeah. Like, come on. And so it's constant levels of justifying every little action. You justify it, and then it goes to it's incremental. And yeah, the inciting fucking incident is the incident with scumbag Michael Rappaport, scumbag on and off screen Michael Rappaport's murder of fucking these two like black dudes who do come off as fucking like thugged out in the movie.
They come off as thugged out, and they have crack on them, but that's not the point. That's not the fucking point. And I know you're not saying, but yeah.
Yes, but that becomes for people who will defend fucking authoritarianism and fucking like, okay, these guys are criminals.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean kill them in the street.
Well, let's just point out the obvious parallel, which wasn't a parallel then, but that would be realized 25 some years later with George Floyd. Was he a piece of shit? That's debatable. But Did the man deserve to die on the ground with a cop putting his fucking knee in his back and choking him to death?
Murdered in the
Murder.
streets.
Yeah.
And they just held a moment of silence for him at the Minnesota Republican Convention. They held
really?
for Derek Chauvin, for the cop.
Oh, for the cop. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, not
Well,
for him,
that
for the
sounds
cop.
about right.
Yeah, don't get it twisted.
No, don't twist the motherfucker. If you don't give it to me twisted, that's what the fuck happened there. You didn't have me thinking that the Republicans grew a heart all of a sudden. You were confusing, motherfucker. But that's what I'm talking about. This
To your curveball.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's not going to swing. The fact of the matter is that people talk, it's this authoritarian, if you're not doing anything wrong, that you have nothing to be worried about. And we both know that's bullshit. Number one, because they will plant the fucking evidence. And number two, why the fuck are you fucking with me when you don't fuck with anybody else? That's part of it. But it's like, stay within the reasonable limits of the law. But it's also a kind of thing where it's like, now you make it difficult for law enforcement as a whole. Because now it's like, what cop am I going to trust? I don't give a fuck how many videos you have of Shaquille O'Neal, volunteer Florida police officer, coming to a bunch of kids playing basketball with the handful of white cops that are there. I don't know if you've ever seen that video, but it's like...
No, but that's propaganda.
That's propaganda. That's all propaganda. So it's
that's
like...
It's marketing for his own bullshit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. But here I am, and I'm like, I've watched... I love cop films. I love detective noir cops. And I understand... There's a part of me that that I don't know if I understand or if I recognize or if it's just something that I take from my reading of the material, that it's almost impossible to do the job without bending the law to a degree. And I really do question that. I start to wonder, what would I do? What would I expect out of a situation if let's not even say that you found yourself in the position of being a police officer and having to make those decisions. Let's say that you're a victim of a crime. Do you want the cop breaking the law to a degree in order to bring justice to wherever you were wronged? I don't know. I mean, I'm at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself really difficult questions, and you have to be prepared to look into the heart of darkness and say, well, I don't know how I feel about this. I don't know if I agree with this or disagree with this. It's a fucking dangerous place to go, but I think it's a place that we all owe it to ourselves and the culture to really examine and ask that question.
I mean, the counter, you're going to get someone saying, well, you talk all this shit about the cops, but as soon as something happens to you, who the fuck are you going to call?
That's a long way of saying that. Yeah.
And the reality is like, well, we have to.
Yeah.
Because we don't live in a system where we do everything ourselves. It's not a system where we don't live in a society where if you fucking steal something from me, I get my gun and I go to your house and I say, you stole that from me, and then you say, no, I didn't, and we call each other liars and we challenge each other to a duel, and then we go and fucking like shoot at each other till one of us is dead.
Yeah.
We don't live in that society, and I don't want to live in that society.
No.
So we have to have some form of recourse where an outside agency or an outside like authority comes in to kind of stabilize those situations and enforce the laws that exist. Like that's basic shit. But we're always going to have that issue where you have to trust that the people within that system who are allowed to use force, if necessary, so that we don't use force on each other as citizens. We have to be able to trust that that person is not gonna fucking come and kill us, or not gonna come and abuse us, or, you know, I mean, that's why it's like, well, do you go to the cops, or do you go to Robert De Niro in a different movie?
Yeah.
Or do you just stay quiet? Or do you take the law into your own hands because you don't trust the cops, and then you end up getting fucking killed, you know? It's all about the fucking power dynamics of fucking that exists in this hierarchical fucking world. And just because you're a fucking, you know, Robert De Niro tells Stallone, he's like, something about being a cop, and Stallone's like, I am a cop. And he's like, look, you are law enforcement, but you ain't no fucking cop.
Yeah.
You're not like that. He's just basically a fucking security guard.
Yeah.
Is the way, basically, he's like, you're a fucking rent-a-cop type of shit. You're not one of them. You're not in that group. And that's his conflict. There's a conflict between Robert De Niro comes in to investigate as an internal affairs cop. So you have a young hero cop who kills two people, who fakes his own death, who is involved now in a cover-up that involves the highest levels of the police, plus the mayor trying to use influence on the side in order to, like, pressure other people so that they can shut down the investigation, etc. Internal Affairs is fucking looking into it. In the middle is Stallone. He's in love with the girl he saved, who's married to one of the fucking gang cops, who's actually also sleeping with fucking Harvey Keitel's wife in a fucking dramatic subplot. And then you've got Ray Liotta, who is advising Stallone because he's pissed off because his partner years ago died in some other fucking scandal. And he wants out, and he fucking burns his fucking house down so he can get the fucking insurance, and his fucking drug addict girlfriend ends up dying in the house. And we're led to believe that it was a retaliatory kind of thing, but then we find out that it was actually an accident. And so there's all this fucking drama, and it all leads towards the final fucking shootout at high noon in the fucking town between the big city cops and the little fucking podunk sheriff who's deaf in one ear and eventually temporarily deaf in both ears, where he fucking gets, like Rio Bravo, he puts the fucking guy in jail. He's got his drunk fucking helper or whatever, and now he's got to deliver the guy. He's got to deliver scumbag Michael Rappaport's character. But they don't want that. And so who's he gonna fucking be? It becomes, what is it? Is it fucking, what's the movie? Is it He Got Game, or fucking, I'm blanking out on the Jim Brown, is that the one where he's like, what you gonna do?
What you gonna do? Jim Brown? That's Richard Pryor live in concert. No, Richard Pryor live on the Sunset Strip. What you gonna do?
That's all I'm talking about.
Yeah, when you mentioned He Got Game, I was like, okay. No, He Got Game and Sunset Strip are way different. Yeah, you gonna kill yourself? What you gonna do? And that's that voice. And you start to wonder, it's like, is this shit realistic? Because the hero story is something that is like, to a degree, far-fetched, especially for the level of cynicism that you and I bring to any viewing. But there are moments in time where people do stand up to power, do stand up to authority and say, you know what, I can't do this shit any longer. I need to. There is such thing as the whistleblower. There is such thing as a person who stands up and says, yeah, if they kill me, they kill me, but I'm walking around dead as it is. So what the fuck difference would it make? So you do buy into it, and I think there's also an element of, like, you talked a little bit earlier about the question of us becoming Travis Bickle or becoming Paul Kersey and having that death wish fantasy. And I think those movies resonate. You're talking about two different movies that are woefully different in both quality, but are strangely similar in popularity. I think people believe themselves. Yeah.
A lot of times there's a racial element in that too.
Oh yeah, always.
Especially with Death Wish.
I think it's more. I think it's stronger in Taxi Driver, even though it's.
Well, I mean, you got the fucking scene with Scorsese where he's talking about that dude in the window.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I think it's stronger in Taxi Driver. But the fact, what I think is though that the average person believes, oh, I could do that, when they don't realize how difficult it is to stand in front of another person and contemplate whether or not you can take their life, because it's not an instant thing. It's not something that. Plus, if you kill somebody, you have to live with that for the rest of your life, whether or not the person.
Your life is changed, if not over.
Yeah, I mean there is the legal element, of course.
Irrevocable.
Yeah, but even okay, let's say I'm standing in front of Wayne Grow. That motherfucker deserves to die. But you don't think that fucking tape is going to play in my head over and over again that I took a life? But also, it's also me who doesn't have that capability, doesn't have that sense to go toe-to-toe with somebody who is a sociopathic psycho murderer. What are the chances that I get the drop?
I mean, how fucking hard is it? How hard is it as when you're a fucking kid to stand up to the bully? And that's not life and death. That's just fucking like
that's just taking a beating. Yeah.
I mean, at this point in where we were at, it could be life and death because we're at that place.
Yeah.
Nowadays, but yeah, back in the day, right?
Sure.
Or at work. How many times, like Office Space?
Yeah.
What about these fucking PTS reports, and it's all bullshit, and it's kind of like, how many times do we fucking stand up for ourselves?
Yeah.
At work.
No, you're right.
Or if we get the promotion, and then now we're responsible for other people, and there's these motherfuckers that are like super trying to take advantage of the system, but are we going to crack down on everybody? Because it's like, well, if I don't crack down on all of them, they're all going to be that person.
Yeah.
Whereas the reality is that's not true. But then you get that fucking cop mentality where it's like, well, I'm the good guy and everybody else is a potential bad guy.
There's that.
And you start to see the world in only those terms. And that's a very childish fucking, again, going back to the Western or going back to hacker fucking lingo, it's like you've got the white hats and the black hats. And it's kind of like, well, and, to bring in the fucking Nation of Islam and Ali and all that bullshit, it's like, well, how come the good cake is the angel food cake and the bad cake is the chocolate cake? And it's kind of like, well, there's that too.
There's a lot going on there, and what I like about the film is that it doesn't shy away from that, and it sometimes you're looking at just fucking shit choices all around you, and there's nothing you could do. Look, is DeNiro a good guy in this film? He's a cop. He could just as easily be a scumbag too. You don't know. Keitel is a scumbag. You know
Yeah.
that. Keitel, as much as I love Keitel, Keitel has that vibe. I don't think I've ever seen Keitel play a part in anything where he wasn't dangerous. Have you ever seen a
Right.
Keitel performance where he wasn't? Willem Dafoe, as crazy as that motherfucker is, he did the Florida Project, which he's very sweet in. He's a very good man. He's still crazy as shit because he's Willem Dafoe. But there was something very honest and real and touching in that. I have never seen that in
Yeah.
a Harvey Keitel performance.
Well, because you're wondering when is Harvey Keitel going to get naked. There's also that.
Yeah.
Um,
When's Keitel?
and you're like,
When's
thank
Keitel going to
God,
bring out the
fucking-
schlong, you know? Damn.
Thank God he's fucking not naked.
Yeah.
Um,
And you know what? Think
and-
about this. This is only 5 years after that.
yeah.
It's only 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
You know he bench presses and does all this shit just so he can get naked.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I'm going to get naked, motherfucker.
I'm going to get naked.
Yeah, I'm going to get fucking naked.
Then I'm going to get face
Beyond that-
tattoos, and I'm going to get naked again. You know?
Well, this is, yeah, exactly. Well, this is Bad Lieutenant had he not been self-destructive like that.
This is a more
He will-
focused and professional bad lieutenant. This is a guy who's
Yeah.
not addicted to fucking coke and heroin, and I mean, this is a guy without the fucking addictions.
Yeah.
This is a more
He
professional
looks
bad
like De Niro,
lieutenant.
and he's like, fucking rat.
Yeah. Oh, I love that fucking rat.
But De Niro is just kind of like, De Niro tells the fucking Molly Gilbert character, he's like, if this cupcake fucks up, we have our case back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because he's like, I don't give a man fuck about this guy. I hope he fucking does some wild shit because I just want my case. I don't care.
But he also knows that's the only way that he can do the case. He
Yeah.
needs this outlier. He needs somebody to blow it up in such a way that it can't be ignored. If you got the fucking mayor coming down on your case, they shut us down. They shut us down. The way De Niro closes that office, I love that scene. It could have been so much worse had it not been him. He knows how to modulate that kind of anger, and you see how he's not a very big guy, but he has the authority there. Go to fucking lunch. Get the fuck out of here. We're fucking shut down. And you're just sitting there
Yeah,
like,
the only power he has is to
Yeah.
send him to lunch.
yeah. He's so fucking frustrated. He's pissed off, and boom, get the fuck out of here. And what does he do when Stallone comes in? This is my shot. Let me play this motherfucker. I can't help him. I gotta force this hand. And what does he do? He was like, I gave you a chance. I gave you a chance. He calls him a deaf fuck. You fucking
Yeah.
blew it.
Yeah, exactly.
You blew.
Your shot was 2 weeks ago. You blew it.
I love that. I was like, you feel like, oh, this is De Niro being De Niro again. This is De Niro really like embracing a performance, and you feel like there's hope. You ignore all of the fuckers that are going to come after this, and you focus on this
yes.
one little
Thank
moment.
you.
Yeah, I loved it.
Yeah.
I fucking loved it. And he's schlubby in a suit that doesn't
hair.
fit too well. That hair is the fucking worst. That mustache is ridiculous. But I mean, he is a real cop, and it's you sit there, you watch it. He's cold, he's calculating, and he's gonna do what needs to. He's gonna put those pieces into position to move the case forward, and I believe every second of it. And I don't know if it's because Keitel and De Niro have, at this point, 20 some odd years of 25 years at this point of history together that they can draw from. But that one moment when they're in that little gas station coffee, whatever the fuck it is, that shit is palpable. The way De Niro comes in there, and he knows what he's doing. And Keitel just looks at him, and he's like, Keitel plays it well too, because it's like, you see that he hates him. You see it. He does his best to hide it, but it's palpable. DeNiro is just sitting there like, I'm on you, motherfucker. I'm coming at you. I love that.
Oh, just check it out. Just check out the town. See for myself.
Oh, I love that moment. And it's like, um, it made me remember how good he was. And it also makes me sad to know what he's doing now. But this is, everybody really has their moments in this film. And whether it's Stallone in this more subtle performance than you're used to with him. Keitel, Patrick is great, like we said. Ray Liotta kills it. I love Liotta
Oh
in
yeah,
this
I mean,
film.
at his fucking sweatiest,
Hmm.
his eyes all sunken in, like he's still on that same bender from fucking Goodfellas. Like
You can hear Muddy Waters playing over the soundtrack as it comes to
oh,
a fucking halt. I mean, do you think there is something about that film and then this film that it makes me wonder, was there a coke problem with Liotta that made it impossible for him to go further, because he didn't have, in my opinion, the career that he should have had. You know, there's another film that he did that I hope we're gonna do in a while. Joe Carnahan's Narc. Have you ever seen it?
I have seen it, yeah, a long
I,
time ago.
I think he's great in that film. I think he and Jason Patrick really kill that. That's another police corruption kind of film that I think is vastly underrated and much more unseen than this film. And he has moments in that, but I wonder. I play that game in my head all the time of what we lost with certain actors that should have had these opportunities, and maybe he was just an asshole to work with, or maybe he had a problem, or I don't know. I mean, I loved him a couple of weeks ago when we did Killing Them Softly. I loved him in that. I mean,
Yeah,
he wasn't perfect in everything, but when he delivered, he fucking delivered. The
he
fact
was
of
good
the
in that Soderbergh fucking movie, the one that came out a few years back with where when the guy from the Mummy comes back, basically.
was that the one with oh my god,
Cheeto.
that was Cheadle and
Don,
Benicio? God, I gotta watch that again. I haven't seen it. I loved that movie when it came out. There's another one. I mean, look, man,
yeah, but what's the name of the guy who was in the whale? The guy he had come back.
Brendan Fraser.
Brendan Fraser. I don't know if it was before the whale or it was around this kind of
It was before The Whale.
around that time where he came back, and you're going like, oh fuck, like
Yeah, yeah,
because we haven't seen him,
hmm,
or I hadn't seen him, and I was like, oh shit, and he was great.
yeah. Loved it. Loved it. I mean, that's if listening to us and listening to us and you hear about movies that maybe you wouldn't have watched, or it triggers something in your memory of like, oh, I want to go back to that. Like Copland. People who listen to us have seen Copland. But this is kind of a reminder of how good the film is, and say, you know what? Let me go back to that. Movies are like old friends. That's why you watch movies repeatedly, or read a book that you'll go back. I'm not the only one. I'm pretty sure you have read the same book a couple of times,
Yeah,
because there's something very
yeah,
comfortable about it, and something very like refreshing and exciting and promising, and there's a, especially as you get older, you got think about it, man. This film was 97, so you were in your what? I was 27, 27, 28, maybe. No. I was almost 30.
no, you were,
Yeah, you were
no
about
wait,
25.
it was what? It was 97. So you were
97.
not almost 30.
I wasn't almost 30. Holy shit. Well, I thought I was. No. I'm thinking about when I got to LA. So yeah, I was 23. I was 23, which would have made you about 19, 20, somewhere around there. Watching it then versus watching it now, as we are older, and I think you and I were both cynical back then, but we're not the men. We didn't have the evidence then that we have now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a different teenager now than I was then.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, absolutely.
the, basically, you know.
Mhm.
And yeah, now it's kind of like, I think I'm the protagonist, but it's like the inciting incident is I fucking woke up and fucking like the conflict is, do I get out of bed?
Yeah.
So I still have a while to before the pinball machine actually tells me that I have no authority. You know what I mean? Like, I gotta get there first. So yeah, I mean, we all have those fucking choices to make. Like, especially when the world tells us, or the world shows us, that a lot of the shit that we fucking bought into, and a lot of the shit that we create, these things that we created ourselves, sometimes they were bullshit, sometimes they were just things that didn't fucking pan out. We've talked about that till the cows have fucking come home about, we all have dreams, and a lot of times those dreams did not pan out. Yeah. Even though those things like did give us whatever they gave us that was positive. They just didn't necessarily pan out. Some of us, it was like, a generation of us and the generation after us was told, like, all you need to do is go to college, man. Like,
yeah, that was one of the big lies. But was it a lie? But was it a lie? I don't know. Did they honestly believe it back then? I mean, the world
whatever.
isn't. The world is.
Yeah. The point is that was kind of like one of these things that in the rearview mirror, we're seeing it as like, okay, there's that. I have friends who also like they did well. You know what I mean? And their shit was like, well, I went to school, I did all this. One friend in particular went to school, but what he studied is not what he ended up like. He ended up doing other like trainings or whatever, and then doing pretty well with some other shit. But like also like, okay, like I'm still fucking dissatisfied now that I did that. The point is that you wake up at some point and something is in your face telling you, this is an illusion. And knowing now that it's an illusion, are you going to continue to, like, Stallone, basically, Ray Liotta is his Morpheus, and Stallone has to take one of those pills. And which is he going to choose? Are you going to fucking see things as they are, or are you going to fucking continue to, like, live in the matrix of Copland? And we all have those choices to make. Not necessarily every day, but like on some level. And we can all think about, most of us have something like that, where it's like, aside from the collective nightmare that we're fucking living, which is a different choice that we need to make.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting for supposedly the good guys to, like, the cops to come and save us, because there are none. That's it. That's a different rant that we've talked about, and we will next week or the week after or the week before, whatever. But you get to that point where it's kind of like you have to make that fucking choice, and even if it's something small, but with big consequences.
Oh yeah.
And Stallone, in the film, Stallone makes it. In his career, he goes back to the Matrix.
He goes back to what's safe. Yeah.
Because he'd rather eat the steak. He's Cypher at that point. And that's fine. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's fine, Stallone. buymeacoffee.com/watch RickRamos. If you're into our shit, send us $5, or else don't. Live your fucking life. We'll live ours. Goodbye.